Hello, hello, hello. This is Show, and you are now watching Lead with Love, a talk with Show. I'm so happy to be here today on this Monday afternoon. It is June 15th, a bright and sunny day. It is not too hot, thank God, because these last few days it has been, oh my God, disgustingly hot. So today it is better. We are blessed to see another day nonetheless. So, it's about that time. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Today is gonna be, how should I say? It's gonna be a little deep. It may touch a few people. Uh, today's today's episode it might touch a few hearts. Because it has to deal with um grief and the loss of a loved one or loved ones. Today's title is The Elevator of Grief. Okay. Again, it's titled The Elevator of Grief. Okay. So for my church babies, we know that to be absent from the body is to be one with the Lord, right? Um, and that goes without saying. We know that when a person passes away, when their soul goes, when their soul goes to the Lord, it goes, it's in a happy place. They're in a great place and they're no longer suffering, they're no longer hurting, but it still hurts us to not have that person with us, let's be honest. So we all know that losing a loved one is one of the most devastating experiences a person can go through, right? um, when I lost my sister back in 2015, right, my sister Tammy, I felt like my entire life came crashing down, right? My whole world came crashing down. Even now, I can remember it like it was yesterday, unfortunately. I remember where I was when I got the phone call. I was in Pennsylvania. I got the phone call from my stepmom, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, my stepmom. Hearing my father cry in the background, and then having to call my mom back in New York. Well, I think I spoke to my aunt. She picked up the phone at my mom's house, and having to break the news to my aunt, who in turn turned around and had to tell my mom. Right, so it was very hard to have to feel that kind of pain and then be the one to deliver that kind of news, right? Because it was very unexpected. She was very young. So yeah, 33 years old. So, yeah, it was very hard. So I remember every single detail, every single detail. So when I think about grief, I often picture it as an elevator, okay, and it has 5 floors. All right, so when we first lose someone we love, like we're on the basement, right? All right, so we're on the basement. The pain is fresh, raw, and overwhelming. And we may stay there for a while, because everything feels dark and empty. That's usually how the basement feels. It's like really dark and empty. Nothing's in there. And you may feel isolated, as if no one truly understands what you're going through. Like you're the only one, that could truly understand, right? And you might stay there for a while, right? And who knows, a few months, a few weeks, or a few months may pass, and the elevator then takes us to the first floor, right? This is where denial, disbelief, and shock live. Okay, we don't want to accept that our loved one is gone. Okay, during this stage, I kept my sister's number in my phone because I refused to believe that she wasn't still with us, right? I wanted to believe that I can still call her at any time, right? So I still kept her number in my phone, right? So, as more time passes, we press the button for the second floor, right? Baby, this is where the anger is, right? This is where anger is. Okay, maybe you're angry at yourself for not saying I love you more. Um, or maybe during your last phone call, you didn't say I love you, or maybe you had an argument with that person, and you ended it on, you ended your last encounter, you ended it on bad terms. Maybe you're angry at the person because you felt like they left you too soon. You may be angry at family members. This is all displaced anger, right? Um, maybe the person was sick and you're mad at the doctors because you felt that they didn't do enough. Or you might be even angry at God, like questioning God, like, why did you do this to us, to me, or why did you take this person from me? There are so many feelings in this stage, on this elevator. On this floor of the elevator, there's so many feelings of anger, right? And you're blaming everybody. It's just displaced anger and blame, right? Um, then we press for the third floor. And on the third floor is bargaining, right? This is where the what ifs and the if onlys begin, right? We try to reverse the loss in our minds, right? If only they had been with me that day, right? Um, or what if they had done this instead of that, right? Or if only I had called one more time, right? Or if only I had went over there that day, then I could have saved them. You know what I mean? That's where the bargaining. We seem to replay different scenarios, hoping somehow that the outcome could change. That we could have changed the outcome somehow, some way. Okay. Now we're getting closer to the top. First, we got to stop on the fourth floor. All right. You ain't gonna like the fourth floor. It's that fourth floor is called depression. Okay. As the elevator doors open, the weight of sadness fills the room, and reality begins to settle in. And that this is life without your loved one, right? Now, my brother and my sister, um, my brother Will and my sister, they were extremely close. It's not that me and my sister weren't close, right? But me and my sister my brother and my sister were closer in age. Yeah, they were closer in age than me and my sister. Yeah, than me and my sister. Um, and I absolutely took her passing hard, right? But I think it hit him even harder because of the bond that they shared, right? Because they were like freaking frack, right? Um, and they spoke all the time. They spoke all the time. So, and I think it hit him. I think it hit him in a different way than not that it hit him harder. It just hit him in a different way, So it hit us in different ways. Um, because he could no longer speak to her as much as he did. And it hit me hard because I remember the times when we would sit in front of the stereo and we would pop in a cassette tape and we would record ourselves singing. She was a soprano and of course I was an alto, so we would record ourselves singing all the time. And and yeah, that was like my most fondest memories of us together. So, you know, our memories were very, very deep, of her. So, um, but on this floor, there were times when we were on the same floor, the fourth floor of depression, but we were so deep in our own grief that we didn't even notice each other on that floor. He was in one corner, I was in the other corner. You know what I mean? Because we were so deep in our own state of depression. You know what I mean? Because we were just in our own worlds. Um, So trust me, that isn't a floor that you want to stay on. It's not. And it's almost like the basement, right? Because the basement, like I said, is like dark and isolated, but worse, but so much worse. So you pray, you cry, you try to keep moving, right? You ask God to help you to reach the next floor, okay? And so the next floor is the fifth floor. This is where acceptance lies, okay? Acceptance doesn't mean you're okay with death. It doesn't mean that the pain disappears. It simply means that you've accepted the reality of the loss and learned how to live with it. It's choosing to simply cherish the moments that you've had with that person instead of being consumed by the pain. Okay. It's looking through old photos, through old videos, reflecting on who that person was to you, and appreciating the impact that they had on you or the impact that they had on other people's lives. Um, so, like, the thing about the elevator of grief is that you don't ride it in a straight line. It's not linear, right? Some days you'll move up and down. Other days you may find yourself right back on a lower floor. Some days you'll skip floors altogether, right? And other times you'll feel like you're stuck in between floors. You know how elevator gets stuck sometimes, and what do you do when it gets stuck, right? You get you have to press that elevator, the emergency button, right? But don't be afraid to press the emergency button. Okay? Call a friend. That's what you press the elevator button for. Call out to a friend. Reach out to a family member. Talk to your spiritual leader. Or simply get on your knees and ask God to help you through that moment. Okay? As Matthew 5:4 reminds us, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Grief is a process, and your journey isn't like mine, and mine won't look exactly like yours. So when you're supporting someone who is grieving, lead with patience, lead with kindness, lead with empathy, but most importantly, lead with love. That's all I got for you, babies. I hope and I pray that this blesses someone today. I love you. I love you. I love you. I hope that you have a blessed rest of your day. Hit that like, share, subscribe button, comment. Let me know how you feel about this. Let me know how I blessed you today. And remember, in all you do, lead with love. Bye.